What's up everyone? So before I even get too far into this video, I want to say that it's a little bit windy outside, so you might hear some wind here and there. But more importantly than that, dude, I got a new desk. And I'm actually pretty happy with myself. Like, I'm pretty excited. Like, I feel a little bit more confident now. Like, when I walk down the street, people look at me. Just having the thought that I have a new desk. I actually got it from IKEA. I stained it, so it looks pretty sick. And you can see in the back of this video that it's there, and it's really nice. I still have my old desk too, so I'm gonna like position. I have that one basically for like sliding shots, and I have this one for like main shots. But yeah, guys, I'm excited to use it. Yeah, I just want to introduce it to you guys. What should I name it? I'm thinking about naming it like Daisy the Desk or like Dominic the Desk. I'd probably go with Daisy, but yeah, that's kind of a quick announcement. Moving on, the Google Pixel 3 XL and the Google Pixel 3 just came out, and your boy had to go out and had to finesse his way into it, and I actually was not able to get one, so I had to go with the Google Pixel 3 XL. And dude, I'll tell you right now, the Google Pixel 2 XL looks way better than the Google Pixel 3 XL. Okay, that's my opinion. I know a lot of people are going to say whatever, but that is my opinion, so it is what it is. But looking around the body, we have glass on the back and the front. Now the glass on the back doesn't go all the way. It's only just the top, but like low-key, I kind of like it. It looks pretty sick. But you do have front-facing speakers, which is a very, very, very nice touch. And a lot of people might get at it because it has the bezel around the screen or whatever. It really resembles more like a Galaxy S8 or Galaxy S9 in my opinion, or even like a Galaxy Note 8. But I actually don't mind it too much. I know a lot of people would rather have the notch design, but honestly, this is perfectly fine. One thing I don't like though is the rounded corners. I'm not a huge fan of that. I don't know how well that's going to hold up. I know the iPhones all have rounded corners too, but that's kind of because of the bezel. I'm not really a huge fan of it, but it is what it is. It does have front-facing speakers, like I said. You do have a fingerprint sensor on the back as well. It's pretty good. It's pretty responsive. I do like it. And you don't have a headphone jack, which does kind of suck, but it really doesn't matter too much. But you do have USB-C, so at least it has that. Now, one cool thing about this phone is that it is IP67 dust and water resistant, so you can go up to 1 meter of water for 30 minutes. So that's actually super cool, and it's just kind of a peace of mind. Like, you should never use it. You should never go out of your way to go dip it in water. But the fact that now we're starting to see like IP68 and a lot more phones becoming dust and water resistant, having a phone that's at least somewhat, I mean, IP67 isn't that bad either. So the fact that it has it just makes it that much better of a device. Now, I don't really know what this means, but it has a POLED touchscreen. I guess it's like an AMOLED. I don't know why they got to make it all fancy, but it's 6 inches. It's 1440p. The PPI is pretty good as well. It's 538. I would say that it's a pretty good panel. I know early on, a lot of people were saying that their device had like a pinkish tint to the screen or something. Honestly, I think it's good. I don't really have too many problems with it. Like, I think it's a good display. Like, I don't really know how to elaborate on that too much, but I'm not really a huge fan of the stock Android launcher anymore. I know you can switch to Nova and stuff like that, but I don't know. I liked it before when it was like on Android Lollipop. Now it just seems like I just don't like swiping up to get into the App Store, and I don't like how the Google search is on the bottom. I'm sure you can switch that up, but yeah, you can add widgets and stuff. It's Android. You can do a lot more with it than an iPhone. So yeah, another thing is the always on display. I really like that. I wish iOS does kind of have some counterpart to it. I wish they did do something like it, but I love the always on display. But one thing, I hope it doesn't cause any burn-in on the display. On my device, there is no burn-in, so that's really good. But that does kind of vary. I mean, if you're getting a used Google Pixel 2 XL or Google or any AMOLED phone, you want to make sure that there's no burn-in. That is a very important thing you got to make sure. Now, in terms of software, this is a Google Pixel, so you're going to be set on software for a little bit. You're going to get all of Android. It started off getting Android 8. It's going to get all of Android 9, the 9.12, and it's going to get Android 10, and it could probably get Android 11. I'm unsure as of yet. I don't know if the original Google Pixel and the Pixel XL are going to get Android 10, which I don't think they are, but even on Android 10, I mean, but you're getting all of Android 9, you're getting all of Android 10 as well. So I mean, it's not that bad. And there's also a ROM community behind it, so you can always go custom ROM it and root it and be set on that aspect too. So you have a lot of options with the Pixel phones. That's why I always prefer Pixel over a lot of other Android phones. Now, in terms of the specs that it has in it, it has a Qualcomm Snapdragon 835 chipset, an octa-core CPU clocked at 2.35 GHz, an Adreno 540 GPU, and 4 GB of RAM. Now, with those specs, they might not seem crazy because like phones now have like 8 GB of RAM and all that stuff, but with my performance, I found it to be pretty responsive. I think it's pretty good. I don't really have any complaints. Like, I thought it was like pretty good when I was gaming, when I was performing tasks or whatever have you. I had a pretty good experience with it. Well, one thing that is kind of weird, this is more software based. There's no like reachability feature. I mean, this is a big screen, 6 inches. I don't think there's a way to like reach to the top. You know how on iPhones and iOS just in general, you can double tap the Touch ID sensor, just swipe down on the bottom and you can actually get to the top. I don't know if there's that type of functionality on the Google Pixel. That's kind of one issue, but that's not even performance. So with every single thing I did with performance, it was very good. Like I'm not like a huge performance heavy person who needs like a lot of RAM or whatever to do my daily tasks. So that is one thing, and I actually like it. I mean, I didn't really see any like drop frames here and there. One little slight issue I did have was when I was like multitasking. I didn't even have that many apps in the back, but I went to load up the game Pew Pew, and for some reason it just kind of hung up and it didn't get into the game, which was really weird. So I'm not really too sure what happened there. It could have been a software thing, but usually when I would get into a game, it booted up fine. So that's kind of weird. And an interesting fact, this doesn't really mean too much, but it does kind of mean something. The Google Pixel 3 XL actually has the same amount of RAM as a Google Pixel 2 XL, so they didn't really make an improvement there. I'm sure the performance is better on the Google Pixel 3 XL, but that's kind of weird they didn't do that. I thought they would at least go up to like 5 gigs of RAM or something, but it is what it is. Now moving on to one of the better aspects of this phone. Honestly, I said that as if there's like a worse aspect. There's really nothing bad about this phone, but the camera is very, very good on this thing as expected. You know, this thing, it has a single sensor, so a lot of people were saying it's not going to be as good as this phone with 2 cameras or 4 cameras now, but it's a very good sensor. It's 12.2 megapixels. It has optical image stabilization, laser autofocus, all sorts of cool little features within it. You can even shoot 4K and 1080p at up to 120 frames per second, and it's a very good sensor. I mean, my expectations of cameras are very low, and I really think phone manufacturers should focus on other things in phones besides cameras. If you're a longtime viewer of this channel, you probably already know my opinion. But with this camera, I mean, I honestly have nothing to complain about. The one slight thing I could possibly complain about, now that I think about it, is the amount of features within the camera settings app thing. And this is more software. This isn't even about the camera. The camera sensor itself is very good, but there's really not like crazy amounts of features within it. Like I know TouchWiz is really bloated and people give it a lot of flack. I do too, but they have a lot of features within those phones, and including the camera, you can do a lot. I remember playing with the Galaxy S5 that came out forever ago, I think like 2012, 2013, and that phone had so many features within the camera app. And looking at phones now, I mean, like I wish there were more. Like I understand we're making cameras better, but I really wish they made the camera settings better, especially stock Android. There needs to be more of an initiative to push with the settings app, the camera settings app itself, camera app itself, to make it have way more features and all that stuff. But kind of my slight opinion. It also has an 8 megapixel front facing camera. It's very good as well. You can shoot 1080p at up to 30 frames per second on that. So very good cameras overall, both sensors, very, very good. If you get it now, the camera's the least of your worries, honestly. Now, another thing you should not worry about is the battery life. In my opinion, I think this battery is pretty good. It's not just my opinion. A lot of people said it as well. It has a 3,520 milliamp hour battery. It's very good. I'd really have no complaints with it. I'm so glad they fit a big battery in this thing. And the fact that it also has an OLED screen makes it that much better, because you can, you know, put on a black wallpaper and actually like use less power for those things and use all those OLED functionality things to save battery. But that's besides the point. The stock battery on this thing is very good. One slight thing again I want to say is that for some reason when I was plugging this in, it took a little while to charge. It might be because it does have a bigger battery, but I use I think I used the OnePlus fast charger too, and it took a minute, but it's okay. It's not that big of a deal. So yeah, I would say, yeah, the battery life is very, very good on this thing. You can definitely get a day out of it. You might be able to get a day and a half. On my usage, I could probably get a day and a half. Really, the battery life also is something very good. And really, this phone is like nothing crazy, but it's like nothing low either. This is a very safe phone in my opinion. I just dropped a video talking about the safest iPhone, and I believe the Google Pixel 2 XL probably is a contender for it. I don't know if it is, just because of the price point, but I know the original Google Pixel XL also is a very safe phone. It has everything really you need in the phone. I mean, it has a fingerprint sensor, USB Type-C. Really, all it's missing is a headphone jack, but that is the wave. That is the new future. So believe it or not, people are not going to have headphone jacks anymore. Most phones are. I think Samsung's taking them away too. Really, the only other slight thing that's kind of an issue is that there's no expandable storage. And the reason that's an issue is because this phone only comes in 2 variants, a 64 gigabyte variant and a 128 gigabyte variant. So if you get this phone now, it's not low on storage, because my main phone is an iPhone 10 that's 64 gigs. The fact that there's no expandable storage on this thing makes it a little weird, but the worst thing is that the Google Pixel 3 XL, the one that just came out, has the same storage variants, especially, like, and that's weird because we live in a time that, you know, phones now have like 512 gigabyte variant options, like the iPhone and the Note 9 and all these things. And the Note 9 has expandable storage, so they should have at least put 256 on the Google Pixel 3 XL. But on this specific phone and in this area of time, there weren't too many manufacturers. I mean, 128 was still kind of a lot last year, so I mean, it's not that big of a deal, but it might be if you want a lot of storage. So that's one thing to keep in mind. So another notable thing to note, like I said, has front-facing speakers, amazing. The OLED screen is very good as well. The rounded corners might turn you off a little bit, but I mean, it is what it is. And the cameras are very, very good. So I don't know if you can tell from my enthusiasm from this, but to answer the burning question, is the Google Pixel 2 XL worth it in the later part of 2018? No, not at all. No, I'm just joking. Yes, this phone is completely worth it. It is a very, very good phone. Like I said, I don't have too many complaints. Most of the complaints that I have are with software. And since this phone is going to be capable of getting software for a prolonged period of time because it is a Google device, it's from Pixel, whatever, those issues can be fixed with a software update. A lot of my issues don't even revolve hardware besides the rounded corners. So really you're going to be set. This is a very safe phone. And sometimes I wonder why people are going to go with other phone manufacturers when they can just get a Google Pixel, because I see a lot of people, and I just made a video about the Google Pixel 2 just recently too. And if you're in the middle and you don't know which phone to get, if you're looking at the Galaxies and all these things, dude, a Google Pixel is like a very good phone. The whole Google Pixel series are very good. I don't know why they dropped the ball with the 3XL with the way it looks, but the software, the functionality of the phone is going to be tremendous. I'll say that you could probably find a Google Pixel 2 XL around $300, $400, maybe less, somewhere around that price point. And I would really recommend, if you can find one for that price, definitely buy it. I would probably recommend getting it used. I don't know if you can get them new anymore, but eBay is a very good option. But if you want to help support the channel at the same time, I would definitely recommend buying it through the link down in the description. I try to find the lowest prices on Amazon and just link them down below so you guys can get them way easier. And you can also help out the channel at the same time if you buy it through that link. So definitely buy it through that link if you want to help support the channel, or if you ever want to buy anything, and anything you buy through that Amazon link actually helps support the channel. So I'd really appreciate it if you guys could do that. And that is pretty much it. If you have any questions or anything like that, leave it down in the comment section below. Hit that like button, that will mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber we get really does count, so it means so much if you guys could hit that. Also check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my second channel. I do a lot more iOS reviews, software reviews. I might start doing more Android reviews as well, but definitely subscribe to that. I really appreciate it. But more importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.